Hey guys, Desolator Magic here with some insane spoilers for M19, and I mean crazy. Every one of these cards is completely mental. Well, okay, 75% of them. Some of them are just noteworthy and interesting, like this one, a Johnny's Welcome. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. I mean, this is just in a Crested Sunmare deck. And that's about it, because if you think about it, this card, it looks good, but it's not good. If you're dropping out 7 creatures, you're probably just gonna win. You don't need 7 life. I mean, what are they gonna do? Swing at you? Like, unless they're in the air or have trample or direct damage or burn or, you know, there's things that can get past this, but in general, if you are dropping in a ton of creatures, enough to make this a worthwhile card, you're also going to win with those creatures. If you're not, and a big line of 10 creatures isn't good enough, you built your deck wrong. Your deck is garbage. Build a better deck. I think it will be huge in life gain trigger decks, though. Absolutely huge. Next up, we've got Alpine Moon, aka Blood Moon Jr. This is a rare. I feel like it should be. It's a 1-cost enchantment, and when it enters the battlefield, choose a non-basic land card name. Lands your opponent's control with the chosen name lose all land types and abilities, and they gain tap, add 1 mana of any color. Okay, not exactly Blood Moon, you probably just helped them out. Like Blood Moon, they probably didn't need a mountain, but with this, they can tap it for any color. Wonderful, you just made it into like a dual land, except like a triple land, except it's a, whatever you'd call it, a pentaland? Is that even a thing? So this would just obliterate manlands, but with one exception, those aren't in the game. You could do a desert, and there's a couple like spell lands like Shafet Dunes. I would love to shut down a Shafet Dunes with this, but this is so narrow, I don't think it's going to really take off in standard, but maybe? I mean, if you need to defend yourself against somebody wiping your graveyard with that one graveyard wiping card, okay. If you wanted to take out a Scavenging Grounds, okay. It's just, what deck are you going to be like, yeah, I've got 4 slots for this? Maybe a sideboard. I could see people putting in a sideboard. I just think that it's almost a Blood Moon that's kind of neat, so people are going to get excited about it needlessly. Next up, Amulet of Safekeeping. So for 2 mana, when you become the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1, and then creature tokens get -1, -0. Kind of random considering token decks don't tend to target the opponent. They really tend to just dump out tokens. But I mean, Anointed Procession runs Settle, so whatever. I mean, it's kind of Archangel of Ties, but not really. I mean, it'll really piss off people who are playing Planeswalkers, I'll tell you that. But it's one of those, if they have more mana than they know what to do with, the card does literally nothing, but early game, my god, they can't do anything. Well, except target anything that isn't you. So they can still blow up your creatures, I mean, they can do anything. Now, if this said you or permanents you control for 2 colorless, that would be the end. That would be it for Magic. It would be done, they would have no players left. So thankfully it doesn't say that. So honestly, because that's so narrow and weak and really the only recurring targeting of you is going to be Planeswalkers. So I mean, if they try to target you with a spell, they'll make sure that they just have enough mana. So all it does is slow them down a little tiny bit, and then they'll just pay the 1 extra. I do, however, like that this just shuts down Burn completely, because that's what Burn does. It just does nothing but target the player. So this actually, you might see this in Modern, because Burn is huge in Modern because it's so cheap. So once again, this is so narrow. In a Creature Rush deck, this would do next to nothing. And somebody's not going to hit you with Settle the Wreckage unless they have 5 mana open. I mean, it's not like it stops the spell. So they had to add the, creature tokens get -1. Cool, I guess? You ever heard of Virulent Plague? All creature tokens for the rest of the game get -2, -2. Almost nobody mainboarded it. So it was really close to being good, but it kind of isn't. But in the right scenario against the right deck, it's amazing. So don't write it off, but don't, buy up 50 of it. Bone Dragon. This is a 5/4 for 5 flyer, so it's already pretty damn good. It's a mythic, by the way. It's a dragon skeleton, which that makes me wonder about the storyline. And if you pay 5, exile 7 other cards from your graveyard. Oh, by the way, that's part of the cost, not part of the effect, so you have to have 7. And then return Bone Dragon from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And it is tapped. I mean, that's appropriate because, either that or they had to make it sorcery speed, or you could just be like, hi, and then jump into combat. I mean, just a 5/4 jumping into combat randomly from the graveyard when your opponent probably forgot about it. And then he's like, my name's Jimmy, but you can call me Bones. Well, Jimmy, you look like a pretty damn good card. Not overpowered, just appropriate and neat. I mean, 7 cards, okay, you might be able to bring it back once. I mean, yeah, it's a lot better than that stupid Phoenix, which, God, that thing should be banned. I mean, it's a list of 10 cards at this point. Walking Ballista should be banned. The Phoenix should be banned. You literally can't get rid of it unless you have 2 kill spells. People saying it's no worse than Bestow. I don't remember Night Howler hitting $36. Scarab God needs to go. You know what? Bristling Hydra. Fuck that card. I don't care if anybody still plays it. That thing still needs to be retro banned. There is so much broken shit in Standard right now, and they're piling this onto it. This 280 plus, it's actually like 296 card set. They're adding this and taking nothing away, okay? M19, the way it looks right now, is going to break Standard. They are either going to have to ban like 10 to 15 cards or pull their head out of their ass and cycle out the entire Kaladesh block. Like basically ban the entire Kaladesh block. You have to lose something. You can't add this level of flexibility, interactivity, and power in every single color and expect anything to get better. I mean, look at the Standard meta right now. It's toxic. Nobody wants to play it. It's a bunch of control spam shit and red super rush that can't be stopped with hand disruption. Yay! Wow, the top 2 decks in the world are so much fun to play against. So now we're adding this, and if you think, well, maybe it'll shake it up and there'll be 5 top tier decks. No, that's not how this works. That's not how it's going to work. Mark my words, M19 is going to ruin Standard. We are going to be just completely fucked for another 3 months after it comes out until we lose half the cards in Standard, and thank God those are gone. Good riddance. I hope Space Egypt gets sucked into a black hole, and you know what? Take energy with you. Fuck Space India. That's Amonkhet and Kaladesh, in case you don't get my old references. I might even put that on a shirt. I'll make a shirt that says fuck Space India. I might gauge the interest based on the comment section. It's probably illegal to wear that in certain states, though. So next up, added to this shit fest, we got another one of the, oh, I was going to say 6/6 flyers for 6. No, it's a 7/7 flyer for 7. Okay. That's odd. And it has flash and the spell can't be countered. That's fantastic. I like that. I mean, if you're going to pay 7 for something, at least let it resolve. So Chromium was in the storyline, I believe. I thought she was dead, but I don't know. And also, okay, discard a card. That's the cost of the ability. And then until end of turn, Chromium the Mutable becomes a human. What? Can't wait to read about this in the storyline. That's the fun part about spoilers. With base power and toughness 1/1, loses all abilities and gains hexproof. It can't be blocked this turn. You know, just in case you wanted to swing and get that 1 damage. Oh god, if anybody wins like the pre-release that way, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. This is so weird and so random. And by the way, it doesn't leave and then enter, so you don't get human ETB, you don't get recurring ETB. I mean, the hexproof thing is cool. It's like, it's almost like a trade-off. I don't know why they added it can't be blocked this turn. I guess if it had equipment or counters on it, that would be kind of cool. I mean, if you drop like 4 counters on this thing, damn, I mean, that ain't no joke. 5/5 unblockable hexproof human? I mean, that's like Spider-Man. I almost said Superman. He's not a human. And the ability doesn't cause any kind of like equipment to fall off or anything. So this looks really good. And then like really the trade-off besides the whole human trick thing is, you know, it gains hexproof. So you're being targeted, in response, discard a card, boom. And, you know, hopefully you didn't need that card, but honestly, this costs 7. By the time this is on the field, you probably need every single card in your hand. So if you plan on putting this out or if it's already out, if you don't need to drop that 9th land into play, you don't have plans for it, keep it in your hand. I have seen so many people misplay that. So many people. I'm going to make a video about that after this. I absolutely love this card. It's a shame it costs 7. I would love to see this as like a 5/5 for 5, but I get it. It's just, yeah, it's a shame that it's 3 color, but you know, whatever. That's what the dragons are, I guess. But this is just such a good card. So next up, Cleansing Nova, nowhere near as powerful as a Chevy Nova, but it is a sorcery that costs 5, and it's a board wipe. Or is it? Well, it is, but it doesn't have to be because you can choose one. It's another modal spell. I love these. Destroy all creatures, so yours, theirs, everyone's, everything. Or you can destroy all artifacts and enchantments. So bye-bye sagas, bye-bye equipment. And sagas and equipment were Dominaria's bread and butter. I mean, I don't think they've fully caught on yet. I really want to see an equipment-heavy deck. But I've seen people sideboard in Naturalize just to destroy my Blackblade in my Blackblade decks. So I love this card. I don't know if it's a reprint. I'm sick of looking them up. Who cares? Next up, we got Oh my, an Italian spoiler. I don't think we've seen one of these. Italian is basically just Spanish with a little bit of spaghetti sauce added. For the record, I might put that on a shirt too. This is Chirico Contrito. God, I should try to translate this without pulling it up. You ready for this? It's a creatura, which I'm pretty sure is creature. I legit don't know what Chirico means, but spirito, that's espirito in Spanish. It's a spirit, imagine that. Okay, literally my Italian knowledge is food and things that sound similar to Spanish. Okay, volare, I happen to know that that's basically Latin, that's flying. And then, let's see, sacrifice this. I'm sure that's how it's phrased. Colon, so it's this something, the card of something something. Or as Mythic Spoiler says, sacrifice contrite cleric. Oh, contrite. Oh my god, it's literally contrito. Exile all cards, really? That's their word for all? From target player's graveyard. Oh my god, it's cemetery. Holy shit, I'm dumb today. Welcome to Italian for Beginners with Desolator, as I like to call it, failing to learn Italian with Desolator. Hey, what does the flavor text say? Okay, this one I'm not going to try to do in real time. I'm going to try to actually translate this. Okay, I think it's we something, a life, something, the something eternal. It sounds deep. I don't know the rest of it, but that sounds pretty prolific. This is why I stick to food, because it's way easier. Apparently Italian is like 5 times harder than I thought. Next up, this is the card that I have the biggest problem with out of the entire set. I know this may shock you. Fel Specter. And it's because of what people are playing online right now. It is a 4-cost, and I think that's the limiting factor. This would be the end of the fucking game if this thing costs 2. So it's a 4-cost that does 1 damage, it's in the air. It's a garbage throwaway crap creature. I mean, it is a dude riding on a giant bat with a scythe. So it's got that going for it, but when Fel Specter enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. So it's their choice, okay. But then, whenever an opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life. There are 4 hand disruptions that I can think of now. I mean, there's that stupid one from Dominaria with the little weird dude, and then there's that other one with the harsh scrutiny. I was trying to think of the artwork, and I just thought of the name. And then there's like the other one and the other one, and then there's like, Mind Rot, which are the indirect ones, where it's like their choice instead of just I'm gonna look at your whole hand and basically cheat. Once again, just a reminder, they took a survey, and this is secondhand information, I don't have proof of this, but I heard from a very reliable source that they took a survey of pro players like 7 or 8 years ago and said, what is the most annoying thing in all of Magic? And I guess mana screwing wasn't an option, because that would have won. It was hand disruption. And they took the same survey about 20 years ago, and it was land destruction, believe it or not. So what'd they do? They took it out of the game. I mean, they just straight up took land destruction out as a primary mechanic. You can still do it. It's just so fringe, and it usually costs like 6. I mean, about a year and a half ago, I saw it work, okay? Somebody actually built this just because they're that freaking savage, okay? It was red, blue land destruction, or red, white, blue. I don't remember. And it was when 3-color decks were like the shit. Like, you could not play with them. If you lost a color, you lost a huge amount of cards in your hand. So he'd just find out what color people need and then get rid of it. And it was hilarious. I played around it because I tend to play mono or just splash, and I was just like, whatever. Like, he tried to beat me, and I just swung with a bunch of like 2-cost crap and just beat him. But that deck was so savage. If you have your friend's 3-color deck and you're versing them with that, you might as well just open up their deck box, okay? Grab an entire bowl of chicken noodle soup and just dump it in the fucking deck box, because that deck is wrecked. But back on point, a huge deck right now is Control, Stall, Torment Walking Ballista, and Hand Disruption. So it's just shut you down, remove the stuff that I can't deal with, hexproof stuff, planeswalkers, whatever. The rest of it, kill spells, walk the plank, whatever, doesn't matter. Vraska's Contempt, whatever. So they're running literally like 12 hand disruptions at least. Like, I got hit first, second, and third turn when I was playing online. It was really starting to piss me off. It was white cheap creature flood synergy, so I actually still won, which was hilarious. He ended up rage quitting. I mean, a Dauntless on turn 1, like, good luck. He actually forfeited when I brought Adorn Pouncer back from the graveyard. Like, after he put it there with a hand disruption, like, that's just a misplay. I suppose he had to pick something, but that was a misplay. If you're gonna run a bullshit net deck, learn how to play it. But the point being, this will enable the shit out of it. Like, they'll be winning without even bringing out Walking Ballista or Torment. I mean, this works so perfectly with it, and it's such a stall deck. They could get to 4. I'm very worried about this. It literally fits in 1 deck, and that's it. Otherwise, it's not a terrifically good creature. I mean, I played at the pre-release. It's so low damage, it might as well just be a really shitty overpriced Mind Rot, and then like a chump blocker. Oh boy. You have to play this with other discard. You just have to. And the melt-away decks don't work. You gotta get the cheap, like the Thoughtseize clones. Like a turn 4 discard too, they're probably, all their cards are on the field at that point. Whatever, if it helps shut down Blue-Eye Control, I'm all for it, but that card just pisses me off. So the state of standard right now is shit, and that's only gonna make it worse. So next up we got Gore Claw, Terror of Kalsima. So this is nuts. Okay, so this is a 4/3 for 4. I really feel like this should have been double or triple green, because this is like so green. But creature spells, not green creature spells, that was a mistake. You cast with power 4 or greater, cost 2 less. So honestly, you could put it in a dinosaur deck. It's pretty good. It's a little bit late ramp, but it's not bad. Remember, this would reduce Ghalta by 6 because of the 2 and the 4. So this is basically just, I hit the mid game, I don't need to go looking for 2 more lands. If you got to 4, you got to 6. Oh, this would be so good in a Marwyn legendary deck. I mean, because this is legendary. So he can hold the Black Blade, which is awesome. By the way, speaking of Ghalta, vote down in the comment section. Would Ghalta hold the Black Blade in his little T-Rex arms or in his mouth? This was highly controversial at my LGS. Here, let me rewind the debate for you a little bit. Well, if he had 2 of them, he might put 1 in his mouth, 1 in his hand. It's legendary, you can't have 2 of them! So anyway, whenever Goreclaw, Terror of Kalsima, attacks, each creature you control with power 4 or greater gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Okay, literally the win condition of my most powerful deck right now. I use Ronus and, not Memorial to Ronus, whatever, his little statue thing. Boost, trample, win, and Forebear's Blade. I usually try to have 3 ways to do everything in a deck just for simplicity and for redundancy. So this right here, anything big, trample. I mean, this is like Planeswalker emblem good. This is crazy. I think this card's gonna be like $6-7 minimum, and I could see it taking off from there. This is pretty damn crazy. I mean, any deck that would play this would just get destroyed by Settle the Wreckage, because even Heroic Intervention won't stop it. But, I don't know, I could really see this working. I really could. It wouldn't fit in a Swarm deck, so it's like, it's kind of a long shot that this would actually go into a popular deck, but it's so powerful. Oh my god, would it if somebody built something around it. Next up, we've got Hungry Hydras. Just kidding, it probably only says hungry once, and it's probably not hungry. That's probably a translation glitch. This is why you shouldn't leak shit like this, Wizards. By the way, this is Chinese traditional. At least leak the simplified version. Not that I could read that any better. So, Hungry Hippo Hydra, which I assume is why there's 5 symbols right there. It's X and then green, of course, traditional Hydra, and it enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters, duh. But get this, can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, and when it is dealt damage, put that many 1/1 counters on it. But as a rule, and they did put the reminder text, it must survive the damage to receive the counters. It's like it's an after effect of the damage, but if it's dead as a state-based action, the trigger can never go on the stack. Or this trigger does go on the stack, and then it no longer is a target. I think that's the more correct way of saying it. This card is insane. Now, it's nowhere near as, I'd say good, but that's not quite true, but it's nowhere near as annoying as Bristling Hydra, where you just gotta burn 5 fucking kill spells on the damn thing. But, boy, you are not gonna kill this in combat. I mean, a 1/1 Death Toucher would do it, or a 2/2, don't know why I said that. But otherwise, you would have to have something bigger, and in any deck this would be in, you probably don't. I mean, unless they got this out really early. Now, the other thing is, you know, Ryle is a card. Deal 1 damage to this. There's a whole bunch of Enrage Enabler cards. You know, 1 damage to all creatures. Boom, you get a counter, just like that. And, oh my god, does this need to be banned? That stupid fucking Hardened Scales Snake thing. What is it? Winding Constrictor. The card is too good, and it's only getting better. It's just like Hardened Scales. The more cards that use counters, the more you can build a deck out of it, and I have seen some scary shit online that uses counters. I mean, it's almost an unbeatable deck. I mean, I keep thinking when I'm playing against it, if I could just pick 7 cards to be legal and just put them in my hand immediately and then play against what they played on their first 3 turns, would I still win? And the answer is usually no. I would have to disassemble their strategy card by card or kill every single one of those fucking snakes. So in my opinion, add that to the ban list too. And once again, this would not be a problem if they would have cycled out the sets when they were supposed to. I mean, people are running Walking Ballista Explorer, Verdurous Gearhulk decks with tons, just mountains of control and a perfectly flexible sideboard, and there's just nothing you can do to stop that damn deck other than board wipes and maybe settle. Maybe. Oh good, the Great Equalizer. Just everybody who's not playing that deck gets to play those now. No, it's unreasonable. I mean, Widening Constrictor is the problem. I'm glad there's not a redundant card with it and they didn't reprint Hardened Scales. That said, I haven't read the entire list of spoilers yet. If they printed Hardened Scales, I'm going to quit and play Yu-Gi-Oh! Someone would get fired over that decision. That's how bad that would be to the standard meta right now. So let's move on to the next Nightmare card. Hey look, Nightmare's Thirst. This card is insanely good, but like appropriate. Like it's hyper powerful. I love it. I want it, but it's just good. And this would go straight into vampires. Or really any lifelink. I mean, I'd say mono white, but obviously this is black. So it's an instant speed, it costs 1, and you gain 1 life. Just right off the bat, you gain 1 life. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. So bare minimum, it's fungal infection, just without the sapperling. And then you could get it up to like Grasping Darkness, but only for 1, you know? So if you gained any amount of life, and there, you know, just count the ways to, get life right now, and reliably, it's obviously lifelink. The only issue is to get rid of something huge with lifelink vampires that you can't deal with, you'd have to swing with a lifelink vampire and basically lose it. So unless you have a much stranger way to gain life that doesn't cost too much mana, although this is only 1, it's going to be hard to get rid of it. But this plays around indestructible creatures, which is kind of cool. Can't kill Bristling Hydra though. Thanks guys, love that card. So regardless, I mean, you can kill a 1 toughness creature with this, which is pretty good. Everybody's losing their fucking mind for no reason about Goblin Chain Whirler. Ooh, so scary. If your deck loses to Goblin Chain Whirler, you need a better deck, okay? Your deck is shit. People calling for that to be banned, you're a fucking idiot, okay? And I literally play a deck that, like, runs a ton of 1 toughness. It's just, it uses boost and counters and, Triumph of what's his face? Like, just build a deck that doesn't lose to 1 damage sweepers. I mean, come on. Now, that said, okay, in the middle of combat, it's -X. So you could shrink a creature, then first strike it to death, or turn a 3/3 into a 2/2, and then, you block it with another 3/3. Cool. I mean, it's a 1-cost instant. I mean, it's just a good card. I absolutely love it. So next up, apparently they think this is Eternal Masters 3. By the way, Eternal Masters 2 was Battle Bond. Omniscience. Because that's what we needed to maybe be a thing in Standard. Somebody to find out a way to cast this horse shit. It's an enchantment, and you may cast spells from your hand without paying the mana cost. The only reason to put this in the set is because it's $20, and it's not going to be after you put it in the set. It's going to be sub $10 because this is Standard. They print a lot of Standard, and nobody plays Omniscience in a real deck. It has to be some stupid, gimmicky, Enter the Infinite bullshit deck, and there's a couple others with free casting. It's just fucking stupid. It costs $9. The only way to use this card is either Extreme Ramp, which is not what Blue's known for, or some broken, I didn't have to pay for it, free casting shit deck that's almost always a glass cannon. It's so aggravating. It's the bane of all commander decks. I just absolutely hate this fucking card. The best thing is, if you're drafting M19, you'd basically have to grab this because it's $20. Good luck playing it in a real game, though. And even if you did, like, what's left in your hand at that point when you've played 9 lands? I mean, that's like turn 15. So that's the last one. What do you think? I mean, it gets way worse. I'm only covering like the ones from recently that are very noteworthy, but there's just so much interactive crap. Even some of the commons are just ridiculous. I mean, utterly ridiculous. Nobody wants to play against certain cards in this set, so I can't wait for something to cycle out, and it's going to be just absolutely 3 months of complete hell. And remember, I called the 5 or 6 or whatever the fuck they're on now bannings before they happened. Every single one I said those decks are broken, the cards are broken, and look, I was right, and they even apologize. Wizards doesn't apologize for a damn thing. So if you're like, Des, you're all doom and gloom, yeah, because I've been right. Roughly 80 to 90% of the time where I said, this is broken, this is a problem, they have later done something about it. And arguably the rest of the time, they should have done something about it. Like when I said they banned the wrong card in Emrakul, as it turns out, they banned the wrong card. It was Marvel. It's almost like not having to pay for shit is kind of broken. You either get rid of the card that enables that, or you get rid of every powerful card in the set one at a time. I legit thought they were going to ban Ulamog and still insist that Marvel was not the problem. Energy, too powerful. Everyone knew it. It's gone. So if you're one of those sissy little bitches that can't handle negativity, or as I like to call it, reality, then go hide away from reality on some other channel where they sugarcoat everything, and maybe you'll find a great, product review or something instead of, hey, look at this horrific shit show. But luckily, Wizards gave everybody an out. I would start talking to your LGS owners right now about when M19 drops, switching completely to Brawl. It's really hard to build a truly degenerate deck when it's Singleton. I mean, it's just really hard to do. And hallelujah, they got rid of Spyglass. So many cards to choose from, and Standard being such a pile of garbage as soon as this lands, I can almost assure you that I'll be showing off some Brawl decks, so watch for that. Unfortunately, if I have to show the cards one at a time, and there's 50 cards, it's going to be a 1 hour video. Might be a little bit of an issue. That's why people are like, why do you never do Commander decks? Because there are 100 cards, genius. But I'll speed through it, I'll show them in groups, I'll just be like, hey look, Tribal Crap, done, next. So watch for that, and I'll see you guys next video.